Today on Us Weekly's reality recap, Lindsay Hubbard reacts to her awkward convo with ex Jason.
I was really, really disappointed in that. And I don't know, maybe he just has severe memory loss. And if that's the case, then, you know, I feel bad for him.
And we're breaking down Austen's apology to Lindsay and that timeline of events. Plus, is Kory just not that into Jessica, and are Jason and Rachel heating up? We'll put on your sweater, strap on your ski boots, and get ready for Us Weekly's reality recap. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly executive producer Mandy DeCamp, and welcome to Us Weekly's reality recap, Winter House edition. Lots going on this week.
Yes, I got my gear on this week.
I love it.
I do not ski, but après ski I'm all about. You know, the drinks in the lodge after.
Totally. Find me in the lodge all times. Lots to get to, like we said. Yeah. But let's check in with you, what you guys had to say about last week's show. Kimmy said Jess is in love and it is just lust. Hurt her feelings when Paige said Carl can marry them and Kory shook no and made a face. The whole Jess needed compliments from the girls is pure stupidity. Seems like a lot of people are hating on Jess.
Yeah, Jess is not getting the best story this season. I don't know if I feel for her. Do I feel for her? Do you guys feel for Jess? I don't think I feel for Jess.
I do feel like Jess might be a one and done.
Yeah. It's also weird to me that she looks so much like Lindsay.
So much like Lindsay. And Lindsay talked about it in our interview with her. She was like, I felt like it was a compliment, but I don't know if Jess did. So
yeah. When they were both wearing those like fur fox ears, I was like, it was hard to tell the difference.
It really was. It really was. Well, like we said, lots to get into this week. So let's recap the episode, starting with our cringe of the night. Who did yours go to?
Okay, so mine goes to the super awkward conversation between Jason and Lindsay. Tell us in the comments whose side you're on, if you took a side. I'm still unsure. So she went and talked about their miscarriage with media without telling him that she was going to be doing that. So he was really upset, obviously. I felt for him. What did you think?
I felt for him until I talked to Lindsay. And you will see in a little bit our conversation that we had together. And spoiler alert, he actually went to the summer house prior and they filmed a whole big scene together. So that was scheduled to be on the show. And I guess editors just cut it out. So he knew that she was talking about it. They had conversations about it. So that was a little shady for him to wait 3 or 4 months later when cameras were rolling on Winter House. So I did kind of see her being like, why are you bringing this up now? But you know what? She maybe should have given him a heads up that she was going back into the press and talking about it once again, because you know everybody deals with that differently. I'm sure it's a tragic, it's really heartbreaking thing to go through, and you know I'm sure he felt like they could have been leaning on each other a little bit more. So you know it's hard. It's really hard to figure out how each person is going to deal with that, especially when they're not together anymore.
Yeah, very difficult. I guess she was kind of saying like, well, it was up to the press to contact you and get your quote about it or whatever, but I don't know. It's
I would love to maybe, we'll reach out to and see if Jason will chat with us and get his side of everything, because, it seems like she said that it seems like he had severe memory loss about what went down. So I don't know. We'll have to see if we can get Jason's side of the story and all this.
Yeah. Who got your cringe?
Mine was this whole like Kory, Jessica thing still. I mean, he is just not that into her, and she is just like begging for it, like trying to like get his attention at all times, like kissing him, doing all this PDA, and he is just like, girl, this is a winter fling, we're done after this.
When she dropped the L word, the love, I was like, oh no, stop that.
When she was like, being in the winter house, like each day is like a few weeks. So technically we've been dating for like 2 months, and we're like, girl, no, it's been 6 days. Like
6 days. It's not long enough.
It's so uncomfortable. It really is.
I know. I don't know. I think it's a lust situation. Like our viewer commented. I don't see this one going anywhere.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But who got your Bravo celebrity of the night?
Mine went to Carl, because I mean, the way that he is like handling all this drama, and it just seems like he's like kind of letting it roll off his back. Lindsay being upfront with him saying, I did sleep in Austen's room the night of the wedding. So he knows everything. He doesn't really seem to be bothered by it. And, I think he's just handling it very maturely.
Yeah. I'll give him
I wouldn't.
I would not be okay with it. But the whole timeline, and it's funny because the entire cast is confused by the timeline. So it's not just us.
No, it's not just us. No.
There's some weirdness with that timeline that she gave, that they started dating in October.
Right.
Now everyone else thinks they started dating the night of the wedding. I don't know. There's some shade.
Something's a little
I think,
off there.
like Paige said, Lindsay's doing her own PR and it's working. And it is. You know, I mean, Lindsay does PR for a living. So it's, you know, she knows what to say. She knows what's going to make the headlines.
She knows how to spin it.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Who was your Bravo-leb of the night?
I went to Kyle. He's just, I'm enjoying him this season. Like, he's not, you know, chugging rosé from the Magnum anymore. He's still getting drunk. He's still drinking, but he's kind of taking the back seat, and he's kind of the logical one in many ways. Like, he was talking about the whole Lindsay and Carl situation and Austen situation, and I appreciated his take on that. I feel like he's the voice of reason.
Right. It's totally a voice of reason. I kind of like it. I do kind of miss like drunk Kyle Antic.
I hope he's back for Summer House. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, totally. But yes, it's definitely a different Kyle than we have seen in the past. Definitely. Yes. All right. Who got your feud of the night?
Jason versus Lindsay, I guess. You know, I think that kind of left unsettled, and clearly it did, judging by your conversation with her. I think this is something we got to get to the bottom of at Us Weekly.
We got to get to the bottom of it. And Austen, and mine went to Austen and Lindsay. It was just, you know, at least he apologized for what went down at Watch What Happens Live, because that was super cringy. Like when he kind of like said that Lindsay didn't compare at all to Sierra. And that was a really hard moment to watch, especially for she was in the audience. It was really uncomfortable.
I remember that.
So at least he did apologize for that, and they seemed okay, but he just would not bring up the moment. And you know, it's like the big elephant in the room. Like, you started this rumor, finish it.
Well, that's what gets your motivational quote of the night, right?
Yes, that does get my motivational quote where Austen says, I couldn't bring up this touching thing. I still just don't want to go there. Well, Austen, then you shouldn't have gone there.
No, Austen, you did bring it up. This is your fault.
This is all your fault.
Not
all
really.
Your fault.
Right. Also Lindsay's fault, but
but you keep going back and forth. Like, did she? And then you were like, then he kind of backtracked his story a little bit, being like, well, I don't know if she really wanted to sleep with me. We just passed out, and then she left. You know,
seems like alcohol was very involved in this situation.
Very involved in the situation. Lindsay did tell us why she ended up sleeping in Austen's room and not with Carl. So check that out on usmagazine.com. She basically said that Carl was staying at another hotel, and he had, you know, responsibilities because he was officiating the wedding.
Sure.
And she just, you know, went into his room, had McDonald's, and they passed out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You couldn't have gone into one of the girls' rooms or anyone else's room or your own room. Yeah.
Right. But she said touching like that is not her style.
Oh, Lindsay. My quote of the night goes to Kyle. He said, what? And it's not really a funny one. It's more of a serious one, but he says, what happens when Lindsay starts drinking again? And, you know, I do wonder that, because she has talked about not drinking anymore because of Carl, but she hasn't said it's a forever thing. And for Carl, you know, he's kind of expressed that it needs to be a forever thing.
Right.
So that is an interesting, you know, thing that they're going to have to talk about with him. And I'm sure they have in their relationship. But did she talk to you about that at all?
She did. I asked her, I said, you know, did you make it through Summer House not being, you know, being sober? And she said no. She said she started drinking again back in April, I guess, when she went on a trip with Danielle, you know, not friends anymore, but when they went on a trip with Danielle. So she said that she was drinking, you know, throughout the summer, and, you know, she and Carl talked about it, and his sobriety is still a priority, but it seems like they have kind of struck a balance. And it's working for them, I guess. So
yeah, whatever works.
All right. Well, like we said, we chatted with Lindsay. We've been talking about it a lot, about her conversation with Jason and why she had the kind of that awkward reaction to it. So take a look. It did seem like you were pretty surprised that he had that conversation with you about not making him aware that you were going public with your story. So were you really that surprised?
I was, yeah. You know, I obviously figured he would want to talk about everything that happened between us. But when that's what he decided to talk about, I was surprised, because I did make him aware. So when he talks about it going public, what he means is, me sharing it on Summer House with Summer House cameras rolling, right? But the way I shared it on Summer House was with Carl, my best friend, right? And so it was a way that I was comfortable sharing that story on our TV show. Mm-hmm. I made Jason aware of that before filming had even started. I just didn't know exactly at that time, like how it was going to be shared. Mm-hmm. But whatever, I did tell him. We had an entire conversation about it. He actually was like, yes, you did. That's right. And I'm like, okay, so then what was the whole point of this conversation, right? Because now you're just like making me feel bad about a situation that I already feel bad about, right? Like you're just making it so much worse. And what makes the matters even worse, Christina, is that Jason and I filmed an entire conversation on my couch for Summer House, season 6. That summer, we filmed together. Now, it got cut. It was never used. It was on the chopping block, and they edited it out for whatever reason. How, like, you were physically there while this is being made public. So why are you now coming to me, 9 months later to make me feel guilty for not telling you, like, when I A, had an entire conversation with you, and B, filmed with you. So I don't know. I was very upset by that. I mean, all sorts of things go through your head. Like, why would he do this? Like, there are multiple situations where he now understand, like, he was made aware. Like, why is he doing this right now? I don't know. It really upset me. I was very upset after that conversation. I basically have not spoken to him since, just because I just thought it was a really messed up thing to do. Like, even if you are doing it to have something to talk about or for relevancy, like, don't use my trauma for your relevancy. That's where I draw the line. Like, that is absolutely unacceptable for me. So, that was really upsetting. And I had to change the way I viewed him in my mind, and it's like, here's a situation where I will always and forever think about this miscarriage, and, it will never leave me. So I've always been like, okay, well, at least it happened with a nice guy. At least Jason's a nice guy, and he was just so wonderful. And I just had the most amazing things to say about him, in the dialogue that I chose to use to, whenever I spoke about it. Jason was absolutely wonderful. But now here he's making me feel bad about a situation where I've tried my best to handle it in a very public way, to the best of my ability. And I'm, trying to help women, in case they want that kind of support. And now here he is shaming me about something that I already feel shame about.
Mm-hmm. And something that you already discussed as well. And
something that we discussed multiple times. So I don't know. I was really, really disappointed in that. And I don't know, maybe he just has severe memory loss. And if that's the case, then, I feel bad for him. But
no, it makes a hard situation even more difficult, because thinking that you have somebody in your corner and they kind of turn around. And like you said, you haven't spoken to him. Did he ever try to reach out and apologize?
No, he actually went on a podcast in June and talked about all of this stuff on that podcast. And I basically texted him and was like, I don't need your permission to talk about my body and what happened to me. And the fact that you went on this podcast and you think that this is acceptable is very sad and fucked up. And he never wrote me back.
Jeez. Oh,
and then he showed up to the Summer House 3 different times.
Yeah, I'd love to know in the comments if your, reaction changed to it. Whose side are you on? Please let us know, Jason or Lindsay or both. All right, let's get to our social spotlight. Who caught your attention on social media this week?
Shirtless Luke chopping wood, obviously.
Whoa. Hello
he
there,
posted
Luke.
this video, which I'm not mad about. And he said, that time of year again, fire up the fireplace and wood stoves. All that pre-split wood is paying off. The smell of it while walking through parts of the city brings me back home. Then I love the hashtags. Hashtag wood, hashtag fireplace, hashtag chopping wood, hashtag winter. Oh, Luke. Just a simple man.
I was hoping that Ashley would comment on this. Ashley,
I know, not yet, but it was only posted 18 hours ago. So Kyle commented, the shirt monster struck again. Watch what crappens, our friend said yes. No Ashley Darby yet.
Yeah, no Ashley Darby yet, but
we'll be looking out.
But he looks good. Mine went to, well, the Lindsay Hubbard train keeps on rolling in this episode. She posted this really cute photo with Captain Lee and his wife. They went down to Florida last week for Thanksgiving. She said that they had a 4-hour lunch and they had a lot of fun together, just kind of catching up. And, you know, that was the first time she met them really in person. And they got to, I just love this friendship.
Me too. I really love the story that Captain Lee had reached out to Carl and helped him with his sobriety. You know, he dealt with the addiction with his son who passed. So it's really touching that, like, you know, Bravo changes lives.
It does. Bravo does change lives.
It's a lot of bad too, but it takes up a lot of our time, but it does nice things too.
It does. But well, that is it for this week's episode of A Reality Recap. Please let us know in the comments what you thought about this week's show. And, you know, we're going to keep on rolling, recapping it every single week.
Yep. See you next week.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.